what's up? It's me. I'm here at the Democracy Monument here in Bangkok. Here to talk to you today about the interesting thing about this country, the freedom to bargain. The prices are not fixed nearly as often as they are in the States. And also the buyer-seller dynamic and how that affects you and your relationships in your day-to-day life. Now this can come between, basically the idea behind the buyer-seller dynamic is that you and other people trade off relationships between being a buyer and a seller. You can buy and sell emotions, you can buy and sell goods, and of course money and clothes and all other, anything, pretty much anything. But I kind of want to break into the idea of like emotions and sort of conversation and vibes and that kind of thing. Basically, an example of this, if Karen goes to talk to Stacy, and Karen is bringing her story to Stacy, Karen is telling the story, Karen is selling the story to Stacy, who's now listening. So Stacy would be the listener and the buyer. The listener would be the buyer, and the teller would be the seller, selling that story. It's very interesting here in Bangkok to see how the buyer-seller dynamic can change so easily. You walk up to the person and you ask them how much it is, and they tell you 200 something, and you're like, nope. And then suddenly, now instead of them selling to you, they're trying to buy in your attention. The dynamic has shifted for a brief moment because they realize they have to buy your attention, and they have to basically buy you as a customer. They're still selling the goods, but they realize that they need to buy you as a customer because their competition is literally within earshot on both sides. It's a very interesting thing in the States. You know, you walk in as the buyer, you're going to buy a thing. If you don't have the money, you don't buy it, and the seller's like, okay, whatever, go home. They get a little bit of commission in the States, but it's definitely not their livelihood. Here it's a little different. Here it's not only your livelihood, but I think part of it is just a game for them. It's just fun. They just thoroughly enjoy going for like getting the best deal in the same way that now I have become very similar to that myself. It's definitely changed me living here. So a fun thing to do, and no exercises for the buyer-seller thing, is to just in your day-to-day interactions, just think about talking to your best friend, who's buying in the most to this, who's selling the most to this. This works for relationships as well. If you notice, if you've ever been that person in a relationship who's bought in more, this can be between romantic partners or friends. You can buy in too much to a relationship, and then you'd lose it basically. Basically, they kind of like lose respect for you if you buy in too much. I find here if you buy too quickly, I don't know enough about their facial expression stuff, but if you buy too quickly, they kind of blasé about you, and if you get too good of a deal, they get mad at you. And I find that very, very interesting, actually. The woman who got mad at me today was the woman who I got the best deal from, at least in the area, at least all of her competitors down the way. She was just like, here you go, sorry, cop, okay, like just very much nope. Next person comes, she's like, oh yeah, it's so funny to see. But yeah, that's just a little bit. But the next time you're just hanging around people, just think about who's buying in the most, even at dinner or at a conversation. Who is the most interested in kind of buying into what the other person is saying, the storyteller being the seller. It's kind of interesting dynamic. So with that said, we should probably talk something about freedom and government, but that's kind of illegal here, and I don't really have a topic for that. But yeah. So, markets, buyer, seller, you can flip that dynamic. You have the freedom, there you go, you have the freedom that democracy brings to flip that dynamic whenever you want. So, anyway, with that said, I'm going to go home and sleep, and I will talk to you guys later.